First thing I'd like to do is thank Chief Duffy for getting our audience all worked up and having all good mood, so thank you, Chief.
Do my heart cry.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. If everyone please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Everyone please silence their cell phones. Ms. Suttles, we have roll call, please.
Mayor Plummer,
Here.
Commissioner Brooks,
Here.
Commissioner Fields,
Here.
Commissioner Gray,
Here.
Commissioner Woodrow.
Here.
We have a quorum and ready for the transaction of business.
Okay, we'll turn the time over to Kevin.
Good morning, everybody. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes for June 27th of 2023. Do I have a motion?
Hello.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, any changes? All in favor? Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is the first reading of ordinance 2023-8, which is adopting the supplement of the Code of Ordinance. Brian?
Thank you, Kevin. So this is an annual task that the commission does when ordinances passed through the year are sent to the publisher. They are put onto the website for everyone to have easy access, and then also they produce paper copies that supplement the book, and then it comes back to you all to approve what they have printed up. So this is the first reading. We'll have it on for the second reading next time, unless there's any questions.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move on down to the consent agenda. There's several things on here. I think there's 18 items. Would anyone like any of these things removed to discuss? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is approved. So we're going to move on down to a regular agenda items. The first thing on the agenda is the US 60 utility relocation cost agreement. So in January of 2021, the City Commission approved an order which put us into a contract with the state on a relocation project that they are doing on US 460 and Russell Cave Road. This is 100% reimbursed and paid for by the state, and it has been up until now. They have completed everything up until now, but there's some additional work that they need to do due to some grading and some changing of some roads. So they are asking us to get into another agreement with them for the cost of $68,000. Again, this will be 100% funded by the state, so there's no cost to the city for this. This is just some additional work that they need to do to finish out this project.
Do you know how long it might take?
They're wanting to get started on this immediately. Actually, I need to, pending the approval of this, I need to get a hold of them today so that they can continue on this work.
I'd move we do whatever, sign the agreement or give the mayor the permission to sign the agreement to do this relocation of the water line on US 460.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Next thing on the agenda is the Chamber of Commerce request for funding for the retail strategies. So in June of 2021, the City of Paris and Bourbon County got into an agreement with the Chamber of Commerce for services related to research, real estate market analysis, retail recruitment, and marketing. This was a 3-year contract. So the city approved in 2021 the first year of it. They approved the second year funding in 2022. Now the Chamber of Commerce has requested payment for the third year of the agreement in the amount of $20,000. Lauren, would you like to?
Yeah, I have information, kind of a little bit of an update before, you all are ready to approve, if that's okay.
Okay, yep, if you want to come up and.
So I just wanted to give a where we are to date update for you guys. If you'll scroll down to the next slide, there you go. So at this point, most importantly, we had a change in portfolio directors this year, which I felt like has been, and that was in February, I felt like that's been the biggest strategic change for this contract that we've had with Retail Strategies, meaning we have somebody that is a big economic development guy that knows the area. The girl that we had before, she was great, but she just didn't know the area very well. The guy that we have now, his name's Mel Graves. He's from Lexington, Kentucky, and he can pinpoint areas of the Bluegrass region very well, and knowing that people are super proud of their thoroughbred heritage, they're super proud of their agriculture heritage, not trying to like change our identity. So that is one of the big things that's happened earlier this year. If you all want to go on to the next slide. Most recently, they went to a conference called ICSC. They met with several vendors on our behalf. One of those things is a coffee service restaurant, and there is a chicken service restaurant as well. And then he met with several real estate brokers on our behalf to talk about the property that David Soper represents next to Walmart as well. With that meeting with the real estate brokers, there's actually been a contract that the people representing the Soper property, they've gone into a contract agreement with a brokerage real estate company out of Lexington because of the work with Retail Strategies. So Retail Strategies is now working with this brokerage company to try to get the commercial aspect of that property up and going. So grocery is a big aspect as well. That's our main reason that we really even got into the contract with them. So they've been in conversation with two grocers. From one is a regional and one is a national. One of our big things that we talk about is consistently is like we don't have enough housing to fulfill a grocery aspect in this community. In our service area, which includes Nicholas County and Robertson County, and even Harrison County, because we have a big service area. We need about 1,500 to 1,600 more houses in order to look at a grocery option. Now in this community, we need about 500 more houses in Bourbon County. But a big thing that we found out recently is, okay, we're about $25 million over in our grocery capacity for this community, but as far as grocery product goes, meaning I have a gluten allergy, so I often go to Lexington to try to find gluten-free items. So for grocery product, people leaving the community because it's not offered in this community, we're losing $16 million annually. So that's a big deal that we found that out recently, because yeah, we have Walmart, which shows that we're $25 million over in what our grocery offering is here as far as the store goes, but the amount of products that are being bought outside of the community is a total of $16 million annually. So I thought that was a very interesting change in how we look at our need for grocery, because we keep saying we need grocery, but it's really the products we need and not necessarily the store. So we've been talking to a general merchandise user as well. And then the national hardware user that we have been discussing with for a while next to Save-A-Lot, that is a big current quarter push that they're trying to get that deal done as soon as possible next to Save-A-Lot. That they're pushing it. They're pushing it quite a bit, and this hardware user is doing a lot of stores this year apparently. So in order to get that done, we would have to move over some various tenants in the Save-A-Lot property in order to make this happen as well, so. But he's working diligently with both the property owner and the hardware store user. So going on to the next one, property focus. So we're looking at the Paris Village Shopping Center, the Walmart parcel, which I discussed about which is the Soper property. A new thing that we've been discussing is, okay, a lot of these commercial retailers don't want to come to just a random green space. They don't want to be the first one to put a piece of their real estate down on just a big 5-10 acre parcel. So we talked to, the idea we came up most recently is, can we come up with a developer in the community or a developer in Lexington that would be a good person to develop a option to do, a housing and retail option, or a hotel and retail option, or something like that. So we pinpointed the West property behind McDonald's, and I told him, I was like, the owner of the property is already a developer. Can we look at a way to coincide what we're doing with what he wants to do for the property? So he has an idea on housing that would work for a first-time home buyer, as well as the aging population for housing. And then part of that would be facing Bethlehem Road. Part of that would be the commercial aspect of that property. So Wayne is very excited about that. Wayne West is very excited about that option, and Mill and him have been working together pretty consistently on that. And then, the Soper property and then the Walmart property. The Walmart property that we're talking about is the one where the urgent care is going. Not only is it going to be an urgent care, the property adjacent to it has an option to be built up into something else as well. It doesn't have enough room for a drive-through, so it can't necessarily be like a restaurant or a quick service restaurant, but we're helping, the Retail Strategies is helping and working with the real estate team on that to try to find a commercial aspect for that as well. And then 100 Bourbon Hills Drive, that's just been getting a lot of attention naturally, that's the location that's next to the gas station that faces Lexington Road. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? That's just been getting a lot of attention from people at the national level. So when they're looking at a map of Paris, they're like, okay, this is something that could work for us. Not necessarily something that, yeah, that's what I'm like, I think it's a flood zone, guys. But, that's just been getting a lot of national attention from when they go to conferences. So if you want to go to the next slide. When we look at what our demand is, building materials and garden equipment is, we need $41 million in this community for that. Like I said earlier about the grocery situation, if you look at just grocery products needed in this community, that ends up being second as far as our need goes. So that I think that just changes the viewpoint of the need for grocery in the community. And then full service restaurants is 13 million, and you all can look at the rest as well. So action items going into Q3 and Q4 for this year. We want to advance the ongoing conversations with expanding restaurants in the Kentucky markets, given our available real estate. So our big focus is next to the Walmart property, and then potentially the West property for future growth as well. And then we want to prioritize the Paris Village Shopping Center enhancements and new investments in properties, the West property and support property with resources and facilitation of relationships, and then planning for future growth and provide city, county resources to support plans for future commercial growth incentives and grocery market insight analysis. This is what I was talking about earlier about the $16 million. So our custom trade area, that includes the areas I was talking about, is a population of 46,046. And so, that just shows like how much is going outside of our custom trade area. People at the national level don't care about our county lines. They care about like who is using our community for their resources. And based on their team's analysis, future demand from existing and new market area household visitors and regional employees to support an additional grocery store will require a minimum of 1,500 to 1,600 new houses to the custom trade area. And so the next slide shows the custom trade area. So that's a 15-minute drive into the community, and that shows the amount of people that are using our community for their basic needs. So, and then also I had our daytime population, for people who come here to work in Paris is 19,323. The custom trade areas average household income for our custom trade area is 70,317. So that's quite a bit of a difference from what Bourbon County's average income is, which is about 60,000. So that kind of gives you all an idea as well. And then the last thing is they're getting ready to go to Retail Live in 2 weeks on our behalf to talk to various regional users for our community, and to circle back around with our hardware store and the chicken fast food restaurant that's interested in our properties as well. And then they'll be coming to see us again to do a recap or a visit again to update anything that they need to update as well. And then also I talked to them, their marketing team. I spoke to you guys last time about doing a full report on the demographics and updating all that. Their marketing team is still working on that report. We didn't get a report last year, and I think that was a time that we were switching over to new people. And so we're working on getting that demographic report to you guys.
Thank you, Lauren. One thing that I want you guys to keep in mind, if you do decide to approve this, the money was not budgeted in this fiscal year,
So yeah, and how it is, if you look at the packet, the invoice is dated in July. We did have this in the budget for last year, so if we want to make an approval to either pay this out of last year's budgeted, then Lauren will have you change the invoice to a June date.
Okay.
Or we can just approve it as it is and take it out of another budget line item. And we always have a contingency line item within the city manager budget as well too, that we can work with that on. So, but I would prefer to take it out of last year's budget since that's where it's at.
Lauren, what happens if, for some reason or another, we decide not to fund it? Where does that leave us?
The chamber board we would have to take it to the board level. You all did give us an increase this year, and so we'd have to look at if we would want to reallocate those funds instead of hiring an assistant, but most likely the contract would be void, I would
Okay.
say. But I would have to take that to my board.
If the contract is void, does that mean that we would start all over looking for new companies to help us do some of the things that?
I doubt it would be at the chamber level. That's up to you all.
Okay.
Is this something that has to be approved at this meeting?
They just need to get paid.
Do we need to look at this a little longer, or do you need to look at numbers?
No, I don't.
Brian, the contract with this company is with the chamber, right?
It
We
is.
just have a verbal agreement, the city and the county do to fund this. I never was a big fan of this from the get-go, but we did it over 3 years. And the last time they were in town, I asked them, what have you done for us? And they went over the same spiel they had before. I mean, this was like hiring a realtor. And they haven't, in my opinion, they haven't produced anything. But that if we're obligated to pay them, we need to pay them.
I mean, the city is not obligated, and as I'm reading the contract, the chamber has the right to terminate the agreement at any time on 30 days' notice.
I mean, I hate it that they lost people, but, I mean, I would recommend we pay them, they give us another year. Because, I mean, we were down, we didn't have anything from them because they were transitioning people. But I'd say pay them, but give us some more, whatever they've been doing for us.
You mean they work beyond the 3 years? That would probably take a amendment of the
Of the
contract,
contract.
as I'm reading it.
I'm for that. They can do that. I'm not.
Because I don't think they gave us some data and some statistics and they're, gone to some shows and things and talked about us, but they promised from day one they would land something for us, yeah.
Do we know, are they working for other communities in Kentucky or in this area our size?
Not that I
Because
know.
we've always, it's tough when,
There's a city in northern Kentucky and Owensboro, but that's obviously not our size. The closest site would be the town in northern Kentucky for Virginia, I forget. It's not
So do we want to just bring this back at a later meeting and get a chance to discuss it some more? Is that the recommendation?
Yes, sir.
That's my recommendation, yeah.
well, it sounds like what at least two of y'all would like is Lauren or whoever to talk to Retail Strategies and get a commitment that they're gonna extend their time.
That
But
would,
for the same
That
original
would be
3-year
acceptable
price.
to me, yes.
that would be, if they're going to extend some time.
Because I'm just waiting 2 weeks, if somebody's not doing something in the interim, is not gonna give you an answer.
All right. So do we need to, no motion?
You don't take any action.
All right, thank you. So we'll move on down to the next item. The next item is approval of the KLC 2023 work plan. So in March, the 28th of 2023, the City of Paris and the Board of Commission, we held a work session here with the Kentucky League of Cities. We went over the future needs of the city for the next 5 years. So the Kentucky League of Cities, they facilitated all the information, put it all into a plan, and the plan has been presented to you guys. So if you guys have had a chance to review the plan, so staff is requesting that the commission review the plan and submit any suggestions. If there's no changes, then we could approve the plan the way it is. So do I have a motion on the plan?
I've reviewed it and I think it looks good. I make a motion, we send it to KLC to publish.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So the next thing on the regular agenda is the June financials, right?
All right, thank you. So on page 177, you'll see our cash balances. At the end of June, we had operating funds of around $10,090,000. It's down just a little bit when we look at the same period last year, and down, I'd say, significantly from where we had ended up in May. But we did put a focus on trying to get a lot of payables done before June 30th, so that's why we're seeing that decrease in that cash balance and everything. So hopefully we got everything kind of captured. Still working on a few payables here that we're going to wrap up by Friday, but I think we're pretty well complete with those. So total cash at the end of June was $10,184,000 compared to $10,495,000 at the same time last year. Moving on to page 178 and 179, you'll see our actual revenues on page 179 for the general fund. At this point in time, are at $11,897,731, about $1,529,000 higher than what we had budgeted. And then our expenditures at the end of June were at $10,476,480. Up there, roughly about $300,000 what we had from our budget. I'm sorry, our actuals were $10,176,000. Our budget was $10,476,000, leaving us with a revenues exceeding our expenditures by $1,721,000. We still, like I said, are still processing payables and still doing a few little reconciliations as we start getting ready for our audit. So some of those numbers may end up changing especially on the expenditure side. So what I plan on is probably the first meeting in September, when we have everything ready for the auditors, come back with you guys for more of an updated June and year-end numbers, and probably some charts and graphs for you as well too. So, so general fund's looking fairly solid and stuff as we kind of wrap up the June 30 year end. And then moving on to page 180 is our utility fund. And you can see our operating funds were at $834,000 or $835,000 at the end of June. Down some from the $1,010,000 at the end of May. Once again, trying to get a lot of the payables for year-end process at the same time as well too. One thing we'll point out is down in our savings and meter fee account, you'll see a pretty good expansion or increase in those funds from where we were at the same time last year. Really about $340,000 in what we deem to be a savings account now, and then $1.2 million in the meter fees for any future projects as it relates to electric. So giving us a total of about $2.8 million in cash at the end of the year. And then also too, moving on to page 181, our actual revenues were at $10,988,615. We are below our budgeted number, but once you just kind of look at what we had figured from grants and loan proceeds, really the grants are related to the transfer station, and loan proceeds were related to improvements out at the water plant. Those projects really have not even gotten started yet, so that's one of the reasons why we're just technically under budget on those lines. But as you can kind of do a comparison, our other revenues, as far as looking at our rate changes, meter implementations, and those kind of things, had a really good positive impact on the utility fund as far as revenues go. Our expenditures will be the same kind of when we look at our budget, but our total expenditures are at $10,439,000 for the year, well under our budgeted amount. But once again, that's just, we haven't spent anything on the transfer station or the capital projects out at the water park or water plant. Giving us a revenue over budget of about $550,000 for the year. And once again, still kind of going through and reconciling expenditures and looking at capital outlays and those kind of things. So we will see some changes on this, but I do think that when we kind of look at our actual revenues from the billing standpoint, utility rates, we had a really good year with those adjustments and everything that were approved a couple years ago. And then the rest of the pages are just some of the detail that we typically print out for you guys line by line by department, just so you have that information. And that's the June financials.
Thank you, Brad. Can I have a motion to approve the June financials?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion, comments? All in favor? Motion is approved. So now we're going to move down to reports from our outside agencies. Gordon, would you like to start us off?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Happy to report that LK Company out of India closed on the building, the Agtech building, on the 23rd of June. So they're officially the new owner of the building. I'd also like to thank, I don't think in the years I've been here we've ever done this before, but we had a really good experience with a lot of different folks from the city and the departments, the fire, the police, utilities, and Mr. Withrow there, and a couple other folks. But the gentlemen, or gentlemen, I guess you could say, were very pleased and had a lot of positive comments. So that made me feel good that we welcomed them to town and everybody had a hand in it. So it wasn't anything I did, it was everybody else really put a good foot forward, and they're really excited. The family, it's family owned, and they have 4 plants in India. This will be the first one in the U.S., and they're backed financially, or I would say in some respect, with Dow Chemical. So that's a positive note. The family's coming back next week, and so hopefully they'll have somewhat of their final business plan, I guess you'd call it, in their building addition plan. So anyway, that's enough on LK, we've got a company in Lexington, I can't, relate to who it is, but it's a tool and die company that's, very much interested in moving here. So we've sent them quite a bit of information. We're hoping to have a meeting here in the next couple of weeks, to talk about, incentives and, corporate tax breaks and that sort of thing. Moving on down to the Bourbon Nicholas Industrial Park, we hope in the next 2 weeks, I think I got a letter there yesterday from Jim Lowe, he's representing the landowner. They hope to close by the second week of August, so that's good, and we're working with all the utility companies to try to get the utilities to the property line, so to speak. And we've got, I think I said before, we had a grant from KU on planning grant, I'd call it, for, and we told them we would use that money for engineering, design, and planning. Next item, we've had a tough time on the connector road, but I think we're finally there as of yesterday. AT&T, we just couldn't get any movement. We went all the way to the top, and finally, after about 4 or 5 weeks of talking back and forth, they showed up yesterday and got their cable moved. So now we're freed up on the industrial park end, and on the other end, I came around the bypass there, and I looked over there a couple of Mondays ago and said, oh my God, what is this? And there was yellow paint everywhere, and there was a transmission, high pressure transmission line of Columbia Gas. So we're gonna have to scoot the road over. We've got approval from them now to raise the grade of the new road and go over. And the way it was, there's no way in the world. I mean, it would have cost $150,000 to move it hot and all that sort of thing. So obviously we couldn't afford that, and the state didn't want to do it. Transportation cabinet. So hopefully we got the green light. They've got all their utility material out there, and you'll be glad to know Jamie Courtney, that's supervised for, or I guess inspected for the city projects before. He has been hired by HMB to do the inspection, so we're tickled about that. He's gonna even do everything, even including the grade and drain and the concrete curb and paving and whatnot. So we're very much tickled about that. And if you would, when you drive along the bypass there, look up at the sign that we put up Friday. Well, the middle sign is mandated by the U.S. Economic Development Cabinet. We had to have that in place. But I thought it was fitting for Senator McConnell and Congressman Barr and to show appreciation. So on the left-hand side, we are showing appreciation to them for the $2.3 million. On the right side, we're showing appreciation to the state of Kentucky for their grant amount. So it's kind of a unique, unusual outlay or layout or whatever. So, but we've had a lot of positive comments from the Congressman's office and Senator McConnell, as well as the governor's office. So take a look at that when you get a chance, and if you see anybody that might have an influence, thank them for their contribution of grants, because we couldn't have done it, no way in the world without all their efforts. And last, I sent Tom Cook yesterday to Atlanta. We haven't been on a marketing trip with Commerce Lexington or the Economic Development Cabinet since 2019. So we sent him yesterday to Atlanta, and we're doing something a little different. This time we went to Mingy Beef Jerky and got samples to hand out, and then we went to Quillen Leather and got, of course, Tom's a horseman, so he knows more about that than I do, but he got some bridles and some other horse-related leather goods and took them as samples, and then we put together a portfolio handout. I thought he did a really good job. So we're anxious to get back on the trail. Since 2019, it's been 4 years. So as well as Commerce Lex, they haven't, I guess it's COVID. So anyway, that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
On the new road, going into the industrial park. Is there gonna be a stop light there or?
No, there's gonna be turning lanes, but as of now, I asked him about that, the answer I got was, that it didn't qualify in the distance between lights. But, they may change that, because CMWA, very much wants to utilize that going into Nova.
Right.
With, they've gone from 1 million wheels to 2 million wheels, which, there's a lot of truck traffic, and that was how this really came about, because I was getting a lot of complaints, and we won't go into who or what, but, they were just beating our doors down, and honestly, a lot of the businesses were complaining, and I know some of y'all went to the board meeting we had at Hunt Pizza. It's been, I don't know, a couple of years ago or whatever, when we were working on this grant, and you could not believe on both sides of the road from about Quick Tech up there, all the way down to the T intersection, there was trucks parked on both sides of the road. You could barely get through. And that very morning, I had a rump roasting from 3 or 4 companies, and rightfully so. So, you can just take a Nova there as a contract, of course, with Toyota, but as well, they have one with Volvo in South Carolina. And so, you're talking about a lot of trucks. And then you take Legacy, has gone from all those years Vanessa was here, they had 2 trucks that they delivered products over here to the old Weaver building. And today, in a 24-hour period, you're talking 60 trucks. It's beyond belief. Walmart, and Amazon, you just FedEx and UPS, it's just beyond belief. So anyway, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Betty Ann, would you like to go next?
Good morning, everybody. First off, I just want to thank you all for your continued support of tourism. We appreciate knowing that you all stand behind us in all of our activities. If you've noticed, Secretariat Park, the stonemasons are down there working on a daily basis. The back wall is complete. You'll notice that they're doing pillars in the park, and you're probably thinking, what are those pillars for? Well, they are storytelling pillars, and each pillar will have a bronze plaque that explains something important about Secretariat's life. So that's what they're working on right now, and it's very interesting to go down there and watch as they chip away and make all those stones fit exactly in place. The dedication for the park is on schedule, November the 11th, and it's going to be at 2 p.m. So mark that down on your calendars, and we look forward to that. Lauren will tell you about a few of the things that are going on around that when she talks. Right now, the thing I'm working with Balance Creative, and we are going to have a new website. Our website is woefully lacking, and our new website is going to be really pretty, really nice, really informative, and it's also going to include a tourism type community calendar so that people want to know what's going on in Paris, the things that are happening. It's not going to be for meetings, it's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be for events and things that are taking place, so people can know what's going on. Mark your calendars, August the 4th is the next First Friday. September 15th is Art Walk is scheduled, and then of course Pumpkin Festival is September 16th. That's all I have this time. Questions?
I forgot to add there, Betty was bringing up about Secretary, we got a whole landscape architect that designed that in Cook. Phenomenal. I hadn't seen it, but Tom Cook went to his house and got it and took it to Atlanta.
That's exciting. It's Dr. Tom Neiman. He is retired landscape architect from UK, and his design is, well, obviously renowned. So we're very pleased to have him on board. They were in town on Saturday night and visited the park to see how it was going, and the sculptor was in town as well. Everybody met to be sure everything's getting laid out exactly as it's supposed to. So we're on schedule.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lauren, would you like to?
It's me again. So, along with the Secretariat Park unveiling, we are planning a huge festival for that weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th, called the Legends of Bourbon County Festival. The reason it's a little bit of a one-off is because back in 2020, we developed the 501c3, the Legends of Bourbon County, with the intention of being a festival, a community celebration of the thoroughbred industry in Bourbon County. So that's the purpose of the 501c3, so that's why it's the Legends of Bourbon County Festival celebrating Secretariat. Now next year, it may not be celebrating Secretariat, but this was the perfect reason for us to kick this back off, because back in 2020, as we all know, COVID happened. So with that, we have the Legends of Bourbon County Festival.com. That is our website. That's where the master schedule is for anything happening for that weekend. But it's going to consist of, on Friday, a thoroughbred marketplace and concerts, and Saturday we're going to have an equine parade, and then the kickoff, or then the unveiling, and then going into the evening we're going to have a gala, the Big Red Gala, and that is bringing in purchases from all over the nation. So far, very few people locally have purchased tickets for that. And then on Sunday, we're calling it Family Fun Sunday, because we want to make sure that we're attracting our community as well. So we're going to be doing some more things that are more so kid related. And then that morning as well, we're going to have a 10K race. So it's a lot, logistically it's a lot. And so next time we want to make sure that we have all of our stuff in line to present to you guys for various street closures, very logistical stuff that we need done, parking. We talked about doing some staffing with you guys as partnerships as well. We've met with the city of Paris. We met with all the department heads at this point to kind of go over, is this going to be an issue for you guys? So everybody's very clear on what their expectations are versus our expectations, and like what we need to do to accommodate, fire trucks or whatever. So next time we'll bring to you the logistical plan for you guys to approve. Any questions? All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next person I want to bring up, he is fairly new to us here. Mr. Dalton Belcher is the new Planning and Zoning Administrator. So I know you've been here a couple weeks now, so if you want to just kind of give everybody just kind of a brief update on what you've done since you've been here.
Figured out where the bathroom is. That took me a minute. No, I've been working with Andrea. She's still working in sort of a contract basis, kind of figuring out everything she did. Very quickly, I'll say I was in the city of Covington for 4 years, doing some of what I'm doing now, some of what I wasn't. I was in the regulatory services manager, zoning administrator position. They have things organized. Every city has things organized differently. So I was under a few different departments, and I've been working in that field for 4, almost 5 years. And since I've been here, I've had, I think, every meeting that I'm going to have planning. This is the last new meeting for me at this point. I'm pretty sure, knock on wood, I'm not forgetting something. And just, getting through meeting people, figuring that out, working with staff, and just kind of the day-to-day and figuring that out. So if there's any questions or anything for me, I don't have a ton to report on just yet, but hopefully next month I'll have a little bit more to kind of more actionable or update items.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Dalton.
No problem.
Next department will be the Parks and Rec, so, Mr. Brooks or
Bill.
Bill, you gonna?
And then I'll just give them.
Okay.
I think we're gonna tag team.
Tag team.
Wallace has a presentation to make on something for us. We had a survey taken, we received 337 responses. 84% of the responses indicated they would like to see funding increase for the parks. Now, drilling down and defining what that meant, you know, it's another step, but it was a glaring statistic that just, when the bar graph was way over here. And we are going through that survey, and the reason we started it, one of the reasons was to delineate the need for a program director. And a lot of that, in my opinion, indicates the need for a program director, but we're going to work through that as a board and probably maybe have another meeting prior to the next board meeting to discuss it. So I wanted to report on that. 337 responses, 84% wanted to increase funding for the parks. There's a lot of detail in it. I don't know if you all have the survey. If not, I can make sure that everyone here gets a copy of the survey. We have just approved at the board level some improvements at Patrick Brandon Memorial Dog Park. I think last fall we put a new fencing in and painting and mulch, and we're probably going to have to go mulch again because it wears out pretty good. But we have a quote that the board approved for paving, and that'll be addressed here later in the meeting. That's really all I have to report. We'll try to keep some of the high level things to you all, and then come back next month with some other items. And any questions, try to answer them or get the answers. I want to thank you all for approving our budget too. We have a wonderful staff and people staying busy, and again, any input you all want to give us, suggestions, comments. We may not get it right, but we'll all try to get there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate what you did.
Mr.
Well, I
Brooks,
guess,
you had something that you?
I guess, you know, the big thing was the survey that was done, and we're, like I say, we want to have a couple of workshops to talk about, you know, how to fund those things. And then secondly, the second workshop would be about the program director also. So those things are still on the table. We're still working on partnerships with the Y and the other community folks that we do a lot of things with. So those things are still on the table. But I think the biggest thing was a survey that we were talking about, because there are folks that actually use the park. They want to see a lot of different things. But I guess one of the big things was, you know, the funding and stuff, how we would get, you know, some of the other activities that they wanted done. So, but the survey was the biggest part, and just trying to, and we'll have a couple of workshops to do some of the things that the folks are asking us to do.
I can't remember, but did the survey results show the breakdown in demographics, male, female, young, old, ethnic backgrounds, rural, city? Okay.
I mean, you, Jamie, and former Commissioner Roberts both worked on that. I don't think we didn't have that. So that's, we can probably look at, see if we can get that added.
Okay.
Because I think that would be a big thing too.
It's a really big thing that needs to be done.
Another thing going along with the Parks and Rec, as Bill mentioned about the blacktopping, the quote on the blacktopping, to my understanding, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, that quote, I guess, would need city commission approval also. Is
it over $5,000?
Yeah, what it is so we did have on Parks and Recs, there is a capital outlays budget in this current year. It's sufficient to cover this, but we had not specifically identified any projects within that capital project outlay. So this is one of those that's coming through that's over $5,000 that we just need to have the kind of stamp of approval for it.
I move we approve the paving for was that Patrick Brandon Dog Park? Is there anything else included? Does that thing?
No, so we put it out for proposals in the paper. We got 3 proposals, and CNR Asphalt was the winning proposal, $13,950.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. So just a couple things that I had. One thing that we're going to be doing on August the 18th, with everybody at the front window, at the cashier's window, being relatively new, we've been trying to put together, and Marissa's been trying to put together with the electric department, a training session to make sure that everybody is trained on how to calculate the electric bills, what goes into the bills, how the metering is done, a lot of that stuff. So they've worked together and they've put together a training session, a 1-hour training session on August the 18th. So that day, we will be closing the front window an hour early to allow for this training. We do plan to, well, since we have plenty of time now, to make sure that we get it, advertised that the window will be closed. We will still be here, so if emergency comes up or something, we can still take care of business as normal, but we did want to try to close that window for an hour to give everybody a chance to do this training. Another thing I have is, I know that there has been some concern, maybe some discussion about some properties on the west side of town. I just want to let everybody know that we are working on this. We've got a new director of planning and zoning, and myself and Mike Smith, we have been for the last couple months meeting monthly with that department to discuss any kind of properties that are in need or any kind of outstanding work orders or anything like that. So I do ask that, everybody just give us till the next meeting, and we're going to get together with everybody and put together a presentation of what we're working on, what they're working on, and bring to you guys as a presentation to take in any kind of suggestions of what you want us to do, how you want to see it, moving forward. And it gives them a little bit of time to get their new board completely filled. I think there's still, one spot or something they're trying to get filled on that. So, it is something that we're definitely aware of and working into. We're just, we'll have a lot more information at the next meeting.
So you are working with the West Side Neighborhood Association Board?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. Other than that, do we have any comments or questions from departments or staff?
Only got one. Elevator upgrades are going on. Can't see them, they're upstairs putting in motors and all that stuff, so, but they are happening. It may not look like it is, but it is going on right now, so.
Thanks,
Oh,
Mike.
boy.
Do we have any comments from the mayor or the commission?
One thing that I wanted to bring up, just because I saw it coming down to the meeting today, was the no parking in front of the Y building. And Mike was telling us last time that it caused a huge backup. Of course, there was a vehicle parked there when I came down today, because it don't apply to them. Park wherever they want. And actually it was early enough that I went all the way down to Second, came back just to see, and the same vehicle was still there. I know when you were assistant city manager, we talked about some knockdown type of
The barriers that you put in on the asphalt, that a big truck, if he had to get through, he could knock them over and down, but it would
I was
prevent people
thinking
from
about
pulling
that
in
when I
there.
was on vacation, I saw those big trucks run over them, they just pop right
Yeah,
back up.
if you'd look into that.
yeah, but it's just, I mean, it's just,
They just continue to do it. You
Yeah.
paint it.
I mean, it cannot be more obvious that nobody wants parking there. I mean, it's bright yellow, there's signs, but some people it just doesn't apply.
Is there a possibility that the police department could ticket some of the cars? And because I'm guilty, sometimes I park on the yellow line, and I know I shouldn't, but I'm gonna run in and I'm gonna run out, and then I start talking, and it's longer than, you
But
know.
that's, you know, a short time, it's a pickup drop off.
Yeah.
But when you stay there for longer than that,
Yeah.
you can back up traffic all the way to the other.
Well, and I was behind a big truck when I came back around. He turned, you know, almost going the wrong way on Main to make the loop, you know, to make the turn
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
hit the car sitting there. thought
Kevin, I
it was-
see where a committee has started on parking and traffic enforcement. If you could maybe bring that up to maybe ticket a few and
Okay.
make some examples.
Or
appreciate it.
citation or something.
Yeah.
We would definitely look into that, and we'll also look into those
Those knockdowns.
knockdowns also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So if we have no more questions or comment, I guess we can.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kevin.
Good job, Kevin.